Hi, welcome to this video. You will see how I sculpted the high poly models for games using Blender and just 3 brushes. To create the high poly model, I like to use the chamferson method. The first modifier, I use subdivision modifier for smooth curved areas like cylinders or spheres. After, I use remesh modifier for increase the density of our mesh. So I use corrective smooth for smooth edges. The last, I use decimate modifier for optimize our high poly model. Before I start sculpting, I will select my sword and press Ctrl R. Select rotation scale because if you don't have the rotation scale correctly, the brush doesn't work well. So I will start with the blade. Select the blade, go to sculpt mode. Back to object mode. And in the blade we don't have curve areas, so I don't use subdivision modifier. I will start with remesh, smooth shading. So I use centimeter length. You can change the scene properties. In units, you can see length, and you can change to centimeter if you want. Back to modifiers. So beware here because the remesh modifier will increase a lot density. So I will start with 0.05. Isn't enough, so I will change to 0.03. Look better, but I will put 0.02. Look good. Select the smooth, corrective. Select the pin boundaries, only smooth, and change the simple to length weight. In repeat, I will put like 50. You can see the smooth edges. So I have a good density in the blade. I will apply all modifiers, go to sculpt mode. So I like to start working the edges, so I like to use the scrap view. Press F to change the size brush. If you want, you can enable the symmetry in Y-axis, so you can work here and the symmetry work in the other side. I like to enable cavity. You can see this light in the edges, so your choice, but I like to use, so I will work in the edges. You can use the extreme polish from RB brushes. It's similar with scrape brush. You can change the brushes here too, if you don't want to use this panel. So you can press Ctrl space bar and you can change for more area. So after working in the edges, I like to put some scratches and damage in the blade to have these brushes, metal scratches. I will disable the symmetry. You can see I use the brush here, and you can see in the other side. For fix this, I press N to open this panel. tool, and in advanced you can select this front faces only. So I use the brush in this side and you don't see in this other side. I like to use this over slash. Pressing Shift and F, you can change the strength of brush. Moving the mouse for left or right. I like to use the clay brushes to create some damages manually. And hold Shift, you use automatically the smoothie brush. I hold the Ctrl to use the subtract. So if you don't hold, you use edge. So this effect, or you can click in the minus icon to subtract, and you don't hold the Ctrl. We have some slashes to use. I increase the strength, Shift and F. I will work in this middle part, so I will select the mask brush and enable the Y symmetry. I change this stroke method for line, and I will create something like this. If you click and hold Alt, you can select the angle. You can press Ctrl I to invert the mask. Select this mesh filter. Select inflate. And move the mouse for left or right. Press Alt and to clear the mask. And here I have this something like a room. Back to brush, and we don't have we don't have the density enough to work in this, so you can go here in the remesh and increase like 0.02. Isn't enough. I will remesh again. The blade is done. Back to object mode. Press Ctrl spacebar. I work in this handle. You can see I don't have the face in the top, so I will select the edge mode. Press Alt and click here. You can select around. Press Shift Alt and click here. Select here too, and press F. I use insert. Add a loop cut here using Ctrl R and here. I will add some loop cuts in the middle. Just Ctrl R. Using the scroll the mouse, you can increase or decrease the number of loop cut. And here I use just a subdivision modifier and increase the viewport like 6 and apply. Go to sculpt mode, and here we can suppose this handle it's a wood, so you can use the wood brushes. Don't forget to check this front faces only. So you can create the wood effect using the brushes, but sometimes I like to use the full brushes to create the wood effect manually. For this, I like to use the crease polish, for example. For creating wood, I like to use a paint table. I use a Gaumon S620, but in this video I'm using a mouse, so I can create the veins like this. You can go to stroke and check this stylized stroke. I like to use this. It's help to create the wood. And when I use the mouse for create the wood, I like to use this, the RB pit, for create these effects. You can press Ctrl to use the magnified direction. You can change the strength using Shift F. So in here you can work with symmetry. So press N to see this panel tool, and the symmetry panel we can see the radial symmetry. You see I will put like 6, so you can see the dots around the handle, the cylinder. I will change the brush for clay, for example, so you can create several cool effects using the symmetry, the radial symmetry. Our high quality model is done. So now we will optimize the high poly using the estimate modifier. So I will use the blade for the example. So I will use the estimate ratio. I will use 0.1. Wait for the estimate modifier work. You can see some shoes here. So for fix this, you can increase the ratio like 0.2. Have some shoes yet, so increase to 0.3. Or you can use 0.1, apply the estimate modifier, and fix these issues manually. Repeat the process for the other pieces. If you have any question, please comment below. And thank you so much for watching.